True strength begins when you talk less, think less, and focus more. Machiavelli mindset: you talk too much, you think too much, and while you drown in your own noise, the world watches and measures your weakness. True strength doesn't announce itself. It doesn't seek validation. It moves in silence with eyes that see everything and a mouth that says nothing. Men who rule don't explain. They calculate. They don't chase. They attract through power, through stillness, through an aura that cannot be faked. Every word you spill carelessly is ammunition for others. Every thought you overanalyze is hesitation disguised as logic. And hesitation kills kings. When you master your silence, you master your enemies. When you stop thinking emotionally, you start thinking strategically. And when your focus becomes absolute, the world bends quietly in your direction. Comment below. Power in silence. Let the weak speak. Let the strong observe. Because from this point forward, your silence will speak louder than any scream. Number 1. The death of noise. Why silence is power. Silence is not the absence of sound. It's the weapon of control. Weak men fear silence because it exposes their lack of discipline. They fill the air with meaningless chatter, hoping to appear intelligent. But every word they speak bleeds information, emotion, and insecurity. The powerful man knows that silence makes others uneasy. It forces them to fill the void. And in that desperation, they reveal everything. When you speak less, you watch more. You learn the motives behind the smiles, the truth behind the lies, and the patterns behind the chaos. Machiavelli taught that a ruler must observe human nature as it is, not as he wishes it to be. Silence allows you to see the ugliness of truth without flinching. The less you say, the more people project their fears and fantasies onto you, creating an aura of mystery. And mystery breeds influence. In silence, you train your mind to value clarity over comfort. You strip away the noise of opinions and distractions until only precision remains. That's where true power begins. Not in noise, not in chaos, but in the cold calm of a mind that owes nothing to the crowd. Comment: silence commands power. Number 2. The art of thinking less. Mastering the controlled mind. Overthinking is the executioner of power. The man who cannot silence his mind becomes a prisoner of his own thoughts, analyzing, doubting, second-guessing until his instincts rot. The Machiavellian man doesn't drown in endless speculation. He acts with cold precision. Thinking less does not mean being ignorant. It means filtering thought through discipline. You think only when it serves a purpose. Every idea that does not lead to power, progress, or control is discarded. The weak think to feel better. The strong think to conquer. In a world addicted to distraction, your ability to steal your mind is rebellion. A controlled mind does not react. It calculates. When others spiral in emotion, you move in silence. Already 3 steps ahead, you become the storm they never saw coming. Machiavelli warned that fortune favors those who act swiftly and decisively. You cannot strike clean if your hand trembles with hesitation. Stop analyzing what others think of you. Their opinions are mirrors of their own limitations. Instead, conserve your mental energy like a weapon, sharp and ready. The less you think, the faster you move, the clearer you see. Overthinking kills instinct. Silence sharpens it. Control your mind and the world follows. Comment: my mind obeys me. Number 3. Focus is the new power, the discipline that builds kings. Focus is the rarest currency in the modern world. Everyone is chasing 1,000 things, scrolling through 1,000 distractions, speaking 1,000 empty words and achieving nothing. But the man who learns to focus becomes dangerous. He sees through the fog while others are lost in it. In a world designed to fragment your attention, focus becomes a form of rebellion, a declaration of war against mediocrity. Machiavelli understood this. Power is not built by chance, but by concentration. The ruthless narrowing of your energy toward what truly matters. The weak crave stimulation. The strong crave results. Every notification, every gossip, every trivial argument. It's all bait meant to drain your energy. You must protect your focus like a fortress. Guard it as if your life depends on it. Because it does. Power dies in distraction. A man who cannot focus cannot rule. He becomes a slave to every impulse, every emotional swing, every external noise, demanding attention. But when you learn to ignore, to detach, to starve distractions of your time, you create leverage. Your mind becomes a laser, cutting through lies, emotion, and confusion with surgical precision. You stop being reactive and start being deliberate. That's when others start to notice something different about you. A stillness, a cold intensity, a presence that commands without words. That is, focus turned into aura. That is, dominance without noise. Machiavelli wrote that a prince must appear composed even amid chaos. In modern terms, it means your mind must be unshaken while the world burns around you. You stay fixed on your objective, unmoved by setbacks, untempted by instant gratification. The man who masters focus masters time, because he directs his minutes with purpose while others waste theirs. He is not hurried, not scattered. He moves with intent. Every action is strategic, every word measured, and slowly, without announcing it, he becomes untouchable. Comment: my focus is my fortress. Number 4. Emotional control. The cold engine of power. Emotion is the greatest betrayer of men. It exposes weakness faster than words ever could. The Machiavellian man does not kill emotion. He chains it, bends it, uses it as fuel for strategy. The modern world glorifies sensitivity and impulsive reaction, but those who rise above understand that control is not suppression, it's domination. To control your emotions is to control the battlefield within yourself. Every time you react in anger, you reveal your pressure points. Every time you chase validation, you show your need to be seen. And need is vulnerability. It is the crack through which others infiltrate your mind. Machiavelli taught that a ruler must appear compassionate when it serves his purpose, ruthless when it protects his throne, and indifferent when emotion would betray him. You must become the same, cold when necessary, calm when provoked, collected when chaos surrounds you. Power respects emotional distance. It's the invisible shield that keeps you above the noise of the weak. When others panic, you think. When others rage, you calculate. When others doubt, you decide. The man who controls his emotions becomes a fortress, impenetrable, unpredictable, untouchable. Even pain becomes a weapon because you no longer suffer from it. You learn from it, you study it, you convert it into wisdom and dominance. To live by emotion is to die by manipulation. To rule emotion is to command perception. This is not about being heartless. It's about being strategic. You show emotion when it gains advantage and conceal it when it gives away power. Cold doesn't mean cruel. It means disciplined. The world cannot break what does not react. When you master emotion, you stop being human prey and start becoming human power. Comment: my calm is my weapon. Number 5. The power of detachment. Freedom through indifference. Detachment is the highest form of strength. The art of walking through fire without burning, of losing everything and still remaining unmoved. The weak cling to outcomes, to people, to approval. They beg to be seen, to be chosen, to be validated. But the Machiavellian man stands apart not because he is cold by nature, but because he understands that attachment is the leash that leads every man to his knees. When you are attached to something, a relationship, a goal, a reputation, you hand it the keys to your peace. It becomes your master. And the moment something can control your peace, it controls your decisions. That's how empires fall, how kings lose their thrones, how strong men become predictable. Detachment breaks that chain. It teaches you that power lies in being able to want without needing, to desire without desperation, to pursue without losing your balance. This is not apathy, it's control. You can care deeply about your mission while being emotionally indifferent to whether others understand it. You can love someone without becoming enslaved by their presence. You can pursue greatness without fearing loss because you've already accepted that everything external is temporary. Machiavelli wrote that fortune favors those who rely on themselves rather than fate. Detachment is the embodiment of that truth. It means you no longer depend on chance or emotion or approval to define your worth. You become self-contained. Your focus, your strength, your peace, all orbit within your own gravity. People feel it when you're detached. They sense it and it unnerves them because the world feeds on reaction, on control, on emotional hooks. But you've cut the strings. They can't manipulate you because you've mastered the art of not needing them. The detached man plays every game from above. He observes, calculates, and acts when the odds are right. Never out of impulse, never out of fear. This is the secret of kings, generals, and conquerors, to stand among chaos and remain unmoved. Detachment isn't about isolation. It's about power. When you no longer chase, everything comes to you. When you no longer cling, everything flows naturally. You stop forcing and start attracting. You stop being a slave to emotion and start becoming a master of direction. Detachment is not coldness. It's freedom. It's the ability to walk away with calm eyes and steady hands while others beg for closure. That is the posture of dominance. That is the silence of a man who owns himself. Comment, I am untouchable. Number 6, strategic ruthlessness. The power to cut without hesitation. Power demands ruthlessness, not cruelty, not chaos, but precision in decision-making. The Machiavellian man understands that mercy without strategy is weakness disguised as virtue. In a world where everyone preaches kindness, but few practice strength, you must learn to cut without hesitation when the moment demands it. Strategic ruthlessness is the art of acting without emotion, of making decisions based on logic and power dynamics rather than guilt or fear. You cannot build an empire while trying to please everyone. You cannot lead while being afraid to offend. To move forward, you must sometimes burn bridges, close doors, and walk away from alliances that no longer serve your vision. Machiavelli wrote that a prince must not hesitate to do evil if it preserves his power, not because evil is good, but because indecision is fatal. Weak men delay, and in delay, they die. Ruthlessness is not about destruction. It's about discipline. It's the ability to remove what's unnecessary, to cut off weakness before it infects your strength. You don't hate the person you cut off. You simply recognize that their value in your strategy has expired. You don't feel guilt for choosing your ambition over comfort. You feel clarity. The ruthless man doesn't seek conflict, but he never avoids it when it's required. He moves like a blade, swift, silent, decisive. You must understand that life is chess, not charity. Every move either strengthens your position or weakens it. The Machiavellian mindset demands that you eliminate distractions, traitors, and emotional liabilities with the same cold efficiency a general uses to remove a failing soldier, not out of cruelty, but out of purpose. Strategic ruthlessness means prioritizing the mission over the moment, the vision over emotion, the empire over the ego. The world will call you heartless, but only because they fear what they can't control. When you can walk away from anyone, end anything, and choose your path without hesitation, you become unpredictable. And unpredictability is power. Remember, the man who cannot say no when needed is already conquered. 2. Hesitate is to lose leverage. To act decisively is to own time itself. Be kind when it's strategic, compassionate when it strengthens loyalty, and cold when it secures your throne. Never mistake hesitation for morality. The world rewards results, not remorse. The ruthless man sleeps peacefully because his conscience serves his purpose, not his guilt. Comment, decisive, cold, unstoppable. Number 7, calculated presence. The aura that commands without words. True, power doesn't shout. It walks into a room and shifts the air. The Machiavellian man understands that presence is not about appearance. It's about energy, control, and timing. You don't earn respect by demanding it. You command it by the way you move, the way you look, the way you don't react. Presence is a weapon of psychology. When mastered, it intimidates, seduces, and dominates without a single word. The average man seeks attention. The powerful man attracts it. He enters a space with the calm certainty of someone who needs nothing. That's what makes people pay attention. Not loudness, but self-sufficiency. When you stop chasing approval, your aura changes. People feel it, they sense your indifference to validation, your quiet self-assurance, and it unsettles them. You become unpredictable, unreadable, and mystery to the human mind is irresistible. Machiavelli knew that a ruler must appear confident and composed even in moments of uncertainty, because perception shapes reality. If people believe you are powerful, you already are. Your goal is not to prove your strength, it's to project inevitability. Every movement should be deliberate, every glance precise, every silence intentional. When you speak, do so with conviction. Few words, strong tone, controlled pace. Every pause must feel like a decision. Every look must carry meaning. You don't need to explain yourself to anyone. Your actions do that for you. The man who explains himself has already surrendered half his authority. The man who says less commands more. Control your posture, your expressions, your reactions. The weak are transparent. The powerful are opaque. When you cultivate stillness, people begin to overthink around you, and that gives you power. They start to project intentions onto your silence, fear motives that may not even exist. And in that uncertainty, they become predictable. This is how great leaders rule, not through constant assertion, but through the silent manipulation of perception. You must become a mirror reflecting others while revealing nothing. That's how you dominate without conflict through psychological gravity. Remember this, your presence must make people feel something even when you do nothing. The Machiavellian man's aura is built on contrast. Calm yet dangerous, detached yet aware, silent yet commanding. It's the energy of a man who doesn't compete for attention because he is attention. Master presence and you'll never need persuasion again. Comment, my silence speaks authority. Number 8. Dominating through observation, seeing what others miss. Observation is the purest form of intelligence. It's the skill that separates the predator from the prey, the strategist from the fool. Most men look, but few see. They glance at the surface, reacting to faces, words, and gestures, while the Machiavellian man studies the undercurrents, tone, tension, timing, contradiction. He reads the spaces between words, the pauses that betray truth, the micro-expressions that reveal intent. The world exposes itself to the man who knows how to stay still and watch. Machiavelli wrote that a prince must understand men's true natures, not their appearances. That means knowing that most people speak not to communicate, but to conceal. Every compliment hides a motive. Every promise contains a weakness. Every emotional outburst is a confession of powerlessness. Observation lets you gather ammunition while giving nothing away. The wise man doesn't rush to respond. He lets others reveal themselves first. He creates silence, an uncomfortable silence, and in that silence, the truth leaks out. When you watch long enough, patterns form. You start to see that humans are predictable machines running on emotion. Their habits expose their hierarchy of needs. The ambitious crave recognition. The insecure crave reassurance. The weak crave approval. Once you identify what drives a person, you can predict their next move. You no longer chase outcomes, you guide them. This is how kings and tacticians have ruled for centuries, not through brute force, but through information. Knowledge is leverage, and leverage is silent power. Observation also builds emotional immunity. When you can see through manipulation, you no longer get caught in it. You stop reacting to provocation because you understand why it's being used. You become untouchable because nothing surprises you. Every insult becomes a data. Every betrayal becomes education. Every conversation becomes a chessboard. But observation requires ego death, the ability to step outside yourself and see without bias. You must kill the need to prove, defend, or interrupt. Let others underestimate you. It's your camouflage. While they talk to impress, you watch to assess. The man who listens learns more in 10 minutes than the talker does in 10 years. And in that silence, your mind sharpens. You begin to sense energy. Who's genuine? Who's hiding something? Who's trying to dominate the frame? You. Stop reacting to words and start responding to intention. The more you observe, the more invisible you become. You turn from participant to puppeteer. When you master observation, power becomes effortless because you're no longer guessing, you're calculating. You don't waste energy convincing. You simply align your moves with what you already know will happen. That's how influence feels supernatural to those who don't understand it. They call it intuition. It's just disciplined observation. Remember, in every interaction, someone is being studied. Make sure it's never you. The one who speaks reveals his cards. The one who listens builds his empire. Observation is patience weaponized, the art of knowing more than you say and saying less than you know. When you learn to see, you stop being a piece on the board and start becoming the player moving the pieces. Comment, I see everything. Number 9, the law of emotional distance, controlling others without force. The most powerful men in history did not dominate with armies. They dominated with distance. Emotional distance is invisible power. It is the quiet art of control without confrontation, of influence without effort. The Machiavellian man does not chase affection, approval, or understanding. He engineers them. He does it by standing just far enough away to be desired, but close enough to remain in control. Humans are wired to crave what they can't fully possess, and the man who understands this becomes magnetic. When you are emotionally distant, people invest more energy into reaching you. They begin to seek your validation, your attention, your warmth, and that desire gives you leverage. Machiavelli knew that men are driven more by fear and hope than by reason, and emotional distance manipulates both. You give just enough to spark hope, then withdraw to create fear of loss. That oscillation makes people obedient without realizing they're being controlled. They call it attraction, loyalty, respect, but it's psychological submission. The weak reveal their emotions too early, exposing their hunger for connection. The strong delay gratification, and in that delay, they dominate the dynamic. You must learn to ration your attention like currency. Give it only when it reinforces your position, never when it costs you control. Every emotional reaction weakens your command. When someone can provoke you, they own a part of you. But when you remain calm, detached, unbothered, you own them. Because nothing is more unsettling than a man who cannot be emotionally manipulated. He becomes a mirror, reflecting others' insecurities back at them. Emotional distance is not coldness, it's discipline. It's the ability to withhold your emotional energy until it serves your purpose. You can care for people, but you must never depend on them. Dependence is the root of control, and once you depend, you've already submitted. To master distance, you must also master silence. You don't explain your motives. You don't justify your absences. You let others fill the blanks with their own fantasies. That mystery feeds your influence. It makes people compete for your attention, wondering where they stand, trying harder to please you. You turn emotional chaos into a psychological chess match, one that you always win because you never play from need. Emotional distance allows you to maintain dominance in every relationship, romantic, professional, social. It keeps you in the position of choice while others linger in uncertainty. That's where true control lives, not in aggression, but in restraint. The man who can walk away calmly from anything cannot be dominated. The world chases what retreats from it and fears what it cannot read. You must become that paradox. Approachable yet unreachable, present yet untouchable. This balance is the essence of Machiavellian influence. It's not about cruelty, it's about leverage. It's about leading with absence, commanding with silence, and owning attention through scarcity. When people realize they can't fully have you, they never stop trying. And that's when you rule them without lifting a finger. Comment, my distance commands. Respect. Number 10. Becoming untouchable. The final evolution of power. Becoming untouchable is not about perfection. It's about transformation. It's the point where your mind, emotions, and actions operate with such discipline that the world no longer dictates your state. The Machiavellian man becomes untouchable not by isolating himself from life, but by mastering his relationship to it. He sees people, events, and emotions as tools, instruments to be played, not forces to be feared. When the average man breaks under rejection, failure, or betrayal, the untouchable man remains calm, collected, and eerily composed. He understands that control is not achieved by fighting the storm, but by becoming the storm. Silent, powerful, and unpredictable. To be untouchable is to move beyond reaction. No insult can shake you. No loss can define you. No praise can inflate you. You become your own. Equilibrium. Machiavelli taught that the ruler must be both lion and fox, fierce when necessary, cunning when strategy demands it. The untouchable man balances both, embodying quiet strength with tactical intelligence. His emotions no longer command him. His purpose does. Every move he makes is intentional. Every silence calculated, every decision free from fear or need. That's why he wins, because he cannot be baited, manipulated, or provoked. He has conquered himself, and that's the rarest conquest of all. The untouchable man is not emotionless. He's emotionally sovereign. He feels, but he decides which feelings deserve expression and which deserve execution. Weak men are ruled by emotion. Strong men rule emotion like a weapon, using anger for drive, pain for growth, and rejection for clarity. You don't seek revenge. You embody it through success. You don't beg to be understood. You let results speak in silence. That's the essence of cold power. Strength without display. Dominance without desperation. You become the man who cannot be read, cannot be broken, cannot be moved by these small games of small minds. You detach from drama, from gossip, from anything that dilutes your energy. Your focus sharpens, your aura hardens, and your movements become deliberate. A dance between patience and precision. People start to sense your distance and mistake it for arrogance, but it's not arrogance, it's evolution. You no longer operate on their frequency. You've transcended validation, outgrown the need to be liked, and replaced approval with strategy. You don't chase power anymore. You are power. You walk with quiet certainty because you know you can survive loss, endure solitude, and rebuild from nothing. The untouchable man doesn't fear solitude. He thrives in it. Solitude is where he recalibrates, refines, and reignites his dominance. The world fears men who no longer need it. Understand this. To be untouchable is to live by principle, not impulse. Your standards become your shield. Your discipline becomes your defense. You stop explaining your choices because they are built on clarity, not compromise. You choose loyalty based on alignment, not emotion. You give your time to those who earn it, not those who demand it. The Machiavellian mindset is not cruelty, it's control. It's a philosophy of power built on realism, not fantasy. You don't hope for respect. You command it through consistency. You don't seek peace. You create it by eliminating chaos. To be untouchable means your world revolves around purpose, not distraction. You don't fear failure because failure cannot reach you. You've made it part of your process. You don't fear betrayal because no one holds enough of you to destroy You've mastered the one truth most men ignore. The less they can touch your emotions, the less they can touch your power. So from this point forward, move with intent, speak less, think with clarity, act with precision, build your empire in silence, and let them wonder how you never faltered. That's the Machiavellian way to conquer without noise, to rule without crown, to dominate without display. You are not in competition with anyone. You are in command of yourself. And that, my friend, is the final stage of evolution. Comment, I am untouchable, and let that be your oath. If this message Resonates like this video, subscribe to Machiavellian Mode and turn on notifications because your transformation has only just begun.